Alright, I'm here. Hello, everyone. This is going to be interesting. Oh, I. Wait a second. Hang on a second. Wait a second. Does Chiller affect. No, no, no. Chiller does not infect. Man, I had a moment there where I was like, oh my god, did Chiller really affect the Japanese font? And it did not. I would have really loved if it affected. It looks like. This looks all like. Well, that last one's a kanji, but everything else looks like katakana, actually. Which makes me wonder what it says. The last two symbols are kanji that I do not recognize, and then the rest looks like katakana actually. Interesting. Well, maybe the second letter. Second letter might be hiragana. Guys, I need to do some wakatabi tonight. But welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm your host, MCCanary. We're back. It's Wednesday evening. There are 2 more days until the Mothership game is here. There's at least one more thing I want to draw. Definitely want to draw before we go. However, there's also something I kind of want to touch on. Here we go. Perfect. I just need to add one thing to this. Actually, it might need to be. Yeah, it will be that easy. Now I just need to do this. You know, I have to give it to my players. They did give me... So, without getting too into details here, keep from spoiling, I guess. My players got to choose who they work for. And in doing so, that helped me like be able to establish like, okay, what is a reason why they would actually be there, which is very good. I feel like that's something I really lacked in my previous game, in previous games, and I'm gonna move into the future. Is like, who's your employer? What are you doing this for? Why do you know each other? It's something that I'm really gonna take into future session zeros. That helps a lot, in my opinion. Um, but uh, in this case, I feel like I, in particular, I in particular, uh, was kind of gifted a really easy one. At first, I thought it was going to be really hard, but the more we talked about it, the more I was like, actually, no, this makes wonderful sense. I can work with this. Actually, I can really work with this. And then I was able to really work with it and get a really good premise for my players' characters to be doing the thing that they're doing, which I'm very glad. This is why I'm really excited. This is why I'm really excited for this game, is because my friends are great at that. My friends are fantastic at being able to help me establish really solid reasons why they would be doing the things they're doing. Like that genuinely helps me a lot. They are very, very good players. They are very good players for that. Something I appreciate. Oh, now I'm like, how the hell did I... Ah, yes, my favorite thing. Sometimes I work on a project in such a way in which I don't quite remember how exactly I accomplished certain things. But they picked a company that at first I was like, man, how am I gonna justify this? It's like, wait, I know how. I'll use my brain. And in doing so, I have actually found a really good inciting, like, okay, this is why they would be going. I mean, we this is the nice thing about the session zero we had, is a lot of it was being able to establish what actually my players were going to do. Like, what was their job going to be? Why were they even doing this, etc., etc. And in doing so, it really gives me a much better opening point to be able to be like, okay, you aren't just a bunch of random schmucks in the middle of space dealing with a problem. Because I think that's sometimes a little bit of a difficulty with tabletop that I've kind of learned that I even have fallen into is like the what I'm going to call the incentive crevice. What is the incentive crevice, you might ask? Well, the incentive crevice is why the fuck should I care about what is happening? My character's just a guy. Now, to be fair, I feel like that is something that really, if you are playing tabletop, I think everyone should be in the mindset of like, no, I want to be the hero, I want to save the guys, blah, 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 blah. But I sometimes feel like I've definitely run into this, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that you sometimes find yourself in a situation where you, as an individual, ask the question, sure, but why am I doing this if I'm supposed to be the hero? And I think that's a weird thing. I don't think like my group is the only one who ever feels like that. Like I feel like sometimes creating incentive for your players to do things can be its own challenge. Um, Either incentive or motive for your players to actually be in the same spot. It's ironic. It's a lot harder than you would think, at least in my experience, to do so. This is coming from somebody who's played as more of a player, even. Like, even I've been hesitant to be like, I get we're all on the same team, but why should I? Essentially, sometimes when you play tabletop, you run into a problem of why should I want to be around you all? Not because I don't like playing tabletop with my friends. I think it's an interesting thing that happens sometimes where party dynamics also encompass a bit of party friction, a bit of party abrasiveness, if you will, sometimes. I don't know how to do that again. Copy it. Gross. Zoom in so much just to move it. Once again, I wish Fresco was better about this. Fresco is very unforgiving with certain things. Now I know what company. Now I know what company my friends are playing for. That is actually kind of important. Definitely needs to go either on the side or it needs to go on the wing. I think I'll make it go on the wing. Yeah, that has the most real estate. We'll perspective this a little bit like that. Show that it has a bit of a curve to it. There we go. Starbus. Perfect. Perfect. I am glad that I had that. That I saved that. Oh, that works perfect. That genuinely looks really good. I like that. Which means what I'm probably going to do. So we have an idea. This is what I like about doing stuff like this. Is now I can because I have one. I want to flesh this out a little bit more. I worked a lot on this shuttle, but I didn't really finish it. I was like, I'll come back to this. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did that because now I know what to finish it off with. Um, I kind of need to do what I did with the Starbus shuttle or the Starbus carrier. is that I need to denote a couple of decks. That'll give me an idea. And this is something that I want to get better about. Mothership. So one thing about Mothership, and this is not a bad thing about Mothership, but it is something that I quickly went, okay, I actually don't want to do this. It's not as necessary as I think it is, and it's just something that they have that it's like, if you want to do this, this is a way to do it. All it is them trying to say, if you want to be able to have a map, you can make a map. Here's some suggestions on how to make a map if you need a map without having to overcomplicate it. Still too complicated. All I need to know is the general location of where certain things are. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know specifics. I don't need to know specific rooms. I just need to have an idea of where certain things are located. So the biggest things I need to remember. So we have 2 decks. We have an upper deck and a lower deck. Split into upper deck and lower deck. This. Here, we'll do an upper and a lower. We have that upper. And we have a spot there, and then we have a maintenance. This is going to be passenger. This is passenger stay. Which is a modified. So, like, originally I imagined this to be a kind of like. I kind of imagined this to be like a general transit shuttle. And originally this was supposed to be for cargo space, but instead it has been adapted passenger space. So that's like where passengers stay. There's even maybe some crack. I think it's a combination of things. I think to save space, the idea of the passenger space is kind of, and I'm not saying this just because I just got off of a plane. I would never do that. But I think the passenger space is like a utility space in which passengers can move around. Passengers can move around. They have a little bit of comfort, and that their seats also kind of double as cryostasis if necessary for longer trips, as well as bed. They don't really have beds. It's a pretty tight space. There might be like a kitchen or a food dispenser, like something down there. Like it has passenger amenities and care, but they can't go or do anything else. They don't go anywhere else. The upper deck and this so only the bottom quarter, only the bottom third, the bottom right third is for or fourth is for paid transit. That's only for passengers. The good news is my team is not paid passengers. They are actually a part of this company. It has turned out that through session 0, they are going to be they are actually employed through the shuttle system. So this shuttle is actually their jurisdiction. It is the players. The players are the pilots and the ship caretakers and the people who are actually being employed for a mission through this company of Starbus. So that like worked out because originally I was like it could be like a salvage thing where that's cargo in there, but I think this actually works better for a couple of reasons that we'll get into in the game, because I think a lot of it will benefit from like being able to it'll be a much more versatile space as the game goes on, and it actually maybe the opposite. It's more restrictive in a way that requires the players to maybe be a little bit more creative. As well as just this is the kind of stuff I need. This is why I needed that session 0 is to be able to kind of solidify and crystallize the kind of space in which the players are going to be inhabiting in this game. It's an important element to being able to establish what they're doing and how they got to where they are. So they aren't just a bunch of random guys. They actually are very specific guys on a very specific job. They just don't. Their characters do not know what is happening. They just know they've been sent on a job, and that's it. Um, well, we've got cockpit. And that's something that I think uh that's something that I think is a huge element for uh what what I'm looking forward to is all the different little like all the little details I've like started to implement in this and being able to explore those things. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. All right, let's see. Got that. Like that. I can't help myself. I'm gonna want to add a little bit to this while we're going, but I think this is pretty much finished as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. I like a little bit of a choke there. Or play with. This is also why I need to use the ruler more. Rulers, I just have to use a ruler for inanimate objects to make sure that they stay like pretty solid. Connector, screw, base, general maintenance. General. Maintenance is such a weird word. I feel like it's a longer word than I was expected to be. Then this is passenger space, and it's cut into two decks. That's it. That's the whole shuttle. I wanted to. So space is hard. I feel like space is really difficult to work around. And I think that's one of the hard things when it comes to designing stuff like this is you have one of two paths. You can either go what I'm kind of doing, which is being like try to make everything fit into a logical space, or you can kind of do the alien Dead Space thing and just say you're kind of in spaceship liminal space a little bit. Like there are places in both of those ships, and I'm sure there was like actual schematics ever written up about them, but there's something about the way that they're presented. They feel very non-linear. They feel very disjointed. It's one of the things that I do like and kind of find fascinating about Dead Space is Dead Space accomplishes a lot of really distinct areas and distinct pathing without feeling like you're inside of a spaceship. Like it's hard to explain. The Ishimura is a big piece of machinery. The Ishimura is enormous, and it's so enormous that you can literally get lost inside of the ship. I think you don't feel like you're inside of a vehicle when you're on the Ishimura. You feel more like you're inside a maze of corridors, which I like. I do like that element, but I do think it's a part of the like quandary of like do I design that? Do I design more of the liminal space, or do I try to truly fit into space, the amount of space that the shuttle, that the Starbus, uh, uh, the Starbus ship takes? Do I try to do that? And I think the conclusion I come to is yes it. I think what I do is something like this, where I say, I know the specific areas where you will find things, but I don't need to map them out specifically. I don't need to map them out specifically if I don't want to, because that is just that much more work. I do like the idea that the engines are not accessible from the inside, though. The engines are not accessible from the inside. I don't think I really need to do a lower deck one because that one doesn't have as much. I like to think that, yeah, it like narrows down, like it chokes down a little bit, so it doesn't do. The underside is much thinner than the top side. Everything on top is much thicker. Cruise quarters. I need to hold on. I need to check something. John, what were your jobs? Oh God, I gotta look at a. I gotta find a note. Oh God, I gotta find a note. One thing I need to do before session one is I need to actually I need to pull my phone notes and make sure that I didn't miss or add anything that like contradicts or anything. I feel like that's something that because I like even on the way home, I did a little bit of writing on my phone while I was on. So I have a plain story. I have a plain story that I've never run into that made me go, what is your deal? And it didn't end up being a problem because it wasn't that long of a flight anyway, so it was like whatever. But it was awkward and annoying and really made me feel uncomfortable because they like called me out and I was like, I'm not trying to be the asshole here, I promise. I just don't know what the fuck your deal is. But I every time I go traveling, I take two bags. One bag's important, the other one actually not so much. My main bag that has all my clothes and everything that I travel with is in a blue backpack that is big enough to fit underneath the seats of any plane. Like it's the carry-on. It's usually my carry-on. And as a backup, I bring an even smaller bag that is a little red backpack that has my sleeping bag in it. That's it. It just has a sleeping bag in it and like a blanket in case I need it. Because I kid you not, that bag or that sleeping bag has actually saved my life. Like I Chicago would have been way worse if I didn't have that sleeping bag. So I kind of feel like I take it everywhere because as soon as I need it and don't have it, I'm going to have the worst time of my life. Um, but in doing so, uh, I usually the blue bag is a little bit bigger than the red bag, but it's never been enough for anyone to like call me out on it. Like flight to Atlanta, no problem. They didn't care. Flight from Atlanta, I get on the plane and I go to put my red backpack up top, and they point at me and they go, "Hey, that's for heavy luggage only. You need to put your backpack up there." And I was like, "What?" Because that has all my shit. That had my book that I was reading. That had like stuff that I could use while we're in the flight. It was weird. I was just like confused. I was almost shell shocked. And they're like, "Hey, you need to put your bag up there." And I was like, Okay. And I like tried to say something. I was like, this is just my carry-on bag. The other bag is just it takes up less space. I would think they would be fine with that there, and they were like, "No, you have to put it up there." And I was like, "Okay," and like they were like, "Hey, I don't know if you understand me," and I was like, Just give me a second. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, ugh. It was just the weirdest thing. I don't understand why they were so incessant. I've never had that. Every other flight I've been on before, so let me keep that bag as my carry-on, and didn't question putting my red bag up there. Like, it was so weird. They were like incessant that the bag was too big, apparently, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not. It isn't. It never has been. It's been a carry-on bag every single time I've used it. It's really weird. Ah, right. Okay, so upper deck quarters. We've got a. I'm gonna say there's gonna be like a light med bay. Essentially, there's like a medic. It's not so much a med bay so much as it's gonna be like a. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it a med bay. And the idea behind passenger care I have is like it's not so much the passengers can go up there, but it's where the other employees go to have to take care of passengers. And there will be passengers, but not in the way that I think that you would expect. So they're not there to be that my players' jobs are not to take care of passengers. My players actually have a job that has everything to do and nothing to do with carrying passengers actually. So it's convenient. It actually made for something that I'm going to utilize writing wise to justify another group of characters, and they aren't even going to be party characters per se. I don't even know if they're going to be a part of the party so much as they're just going to be other people for uh, Sean and Jackson's characters to immediately interact with. But I'm going to make it clear, at least on the onset, they are not associated with each other. They're just other people who have also been sent to for different reasons that have nothing to do with the people that Jackson and Sean work for. The people that are going to be on the ship that they are transporting are on their own mission, independent of their group. And I want to make that a point. Like they're not actually there to join your party. They're not actually, if anything, it'll be dependent on whatever happens in session 1, what happens to those people, but those people ostensibly are going to be going on completely independent of Jackson and Sean. Like they are not there to join their group, and that won't be a necessary concession until shit hits the fan and they need to discuss what the hell they do next and whatever happens to those people. They are just people who are genuinely just being transported because they have their own job that they're doing and they couldn't get a shuttle for it. So, which is exciting. I feel like that's a good way to implement that. Yeah. I mainly wanted to take that time to like kind of do a little bit more detail for this and plan it out a little bit more because I feel like it's something that my players will need, or at least I will need for my players. I don't know. Oh no! Don't look at the Maduka Maguka. Don't look at Maguka. No, it's rude to look at a girl's Maguka. A cockpit. Hold on. I think yeah, medbay slash lab. Let me also look up. Let me open up something. Open up a book. Breaker. And there is going to be something else. This is kind of a crunchy thing that I was thinking about, but there'll be more. There'll be more. We'll be doing something else. The spawner. Let's see. Okay, this is fairly simple. This is fairly simple and straightforward. I got it. Hmm. Sorry, I might be getting distracted. I may be getting distracted a bit. Yeah, I was getting distracted a bit. I'll have to look at stats later. I was mainly wanting to I was mainly wanting to look at this for a couple of inspirations on like different kinds of things I would stick inside the ship maybe. If I need to though. Okay. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Sorry, I was reading something. It had to do with how ships work, but I don't think that's something I need to consider at the moment. That's not something I need to consider at the moment. This is the funny thing about the ship. The ship guide is here to like give you extra like crunchiness if you need it, but the more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I need all of this right now. What's funny is I'm definitely having them go in an unarmed transport. This thing don't got guns. This thing definitely don't got guns. It definitely does not have weapons, which is something that's something unique of me. Like I feel like that's not something I feel like I want to give everything a gun, but this thing definitely is a civilian vessel. It does not have any armaments at all. Comms, cryo, computer. What's funny is our put computer at the top. Comms, computer systems. It's so funny for being a spaceship oriented game. I feel like its space side, the ship area side of it is a little bit looser. It's even looser to me, anyways. You have a little bit more space to play with, it seems. Anyways, real thing I want to do. Idea. Have a character design. I finally have a character design that I want to work on that I was kind of like trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out a little bit last time. Um, Finicky program sometime. So last time I was trying to figure out a character design that I didn't really know what to do about because I really want to add I really want to add a an android. I really want to add an android and I was like I want androids to be in the setting. They're in the book, they're in the game in case people want to play as one later. So I do want an android of some kind worked up in my setting. And I'm really happy with what I came up with. I actually really ironed out what androids look like in the setting while I was on my way back from Atlanta. And I really have a juicy idea on what to do with them. I have a juicy idea on what to do with them. Ah, god damn it, I do this every time. I have to decide which one I want. Probably will choose the newer one. I wrote something and then, of course I couldn't use my reference material, so I wrote something else and it changed something. This is always why I'm like I need all my stuff in like a generally one spot because I write two different things in two different areas. That's something that I'm particularly bad about. Okay. What I want to know is what okay, that's what they have. Interesting. Okay. So, I have an idea on what I have an idea on what an Android now looks like in this setting. I definitely want to I definitely want to work on that next. Trying to think of the best way to do that. I like the kind of like background stuff I've been doing, but this one has to be at least. This one definitely has to be full body. I mean, like they've all had to be full body, but because there's a couple things that I want to denote with this Android design that definitely you need to be able to see at least a full body sketch of them. I need to focus on this first, and we'll add those last. That. And I don't know if anybody out there kind of picked up on this, but you're wondering what the hell the picture was for today. It's supposed to be kind of a test image for what I was going for one of my Android or for an Android that will probably appear. Probably they'll probably appear. One of the things I want to establish with these androids, and this is something that I want to establish with the setting as well, is that the specific kind of android that is in this is a fairly new model. They're actually a fairly new kind of android that exists now. And they are a noteworthy kind of android because of certain elements of what they are. Um, the things that anyone would know in the setting, essentially, of these newer androids that people have already picked up on, that they are amazed by, is that these androids are fairly uncanny, actually. It's part of what makes them a little uncanny is that they seem to appear much more physically. They're very physically human in a lot of ways. They don't. Previous robots were very robotic. They were very clunky, very cubistic, very like generally normal kind of uh uh they were no it was normal, right? It was normal, like a standard robot essentially, like just a guy made out of metal with blocky joints and a lot of and lacking a lot of flexibility. But these new models of Android, there was a recent Android model that came out that really sold on the idea that Android advancement had suddenly spiked in a specific way, and whilst there are elements of them that are still very robotic, they still have very robotic elements. They are much more human to like impression and even to touch. Not feeling it. Try a different angle. Start with this. Start with that. A little bit thinner. Something about this most recent brand of Android, it has been noted that they're not as robotic in a lot of ways. And it's something that I want to lean into with this game is that I want to like cut the difference. I want to cut the difference a little bit in that this setting I want to see androids as something in between what the game originally is going for. I feel like the game is originally going for androids being much more like the alien android, much more like Ash from Alien, where they're very uncanny. I think that's like the original intent. I think they want androids to feel like a little bit unnerving and a little bit antagonistic, even if they can be played by other players. I think that is their genuine intent behind the androids in this game. However, I want to like still make them be a sympathetic, character. I want them to be somebody or something that, if a player decides to play them, you're not just opting to play the bad guy, quote unquote. You're just playing another kind of person that lives in this universe, essentially. I guess in this galaxy. But something people have noted is that these androids are peculiar. They are peculiar um, because there seemed to be a pretty sudden jump. There was not a like sort of evolution to this kind of android actually. This kind of android actually suddenly really appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Hey Slime Knight. the idea I want to go with this kind of like Android design is that people don't know exactly why this model of Android exists. Um, there seemed to just be a jump in technology from more traditional non-human looking robots, even non-human looking androids, where they're like, even if it's an android from a like physiological standpoint, it still is like very robotic. It's still very like Boston Dynamics robot to suddenly incredibly human looking androids. Um, they seem to be very technologically advanced in that respect, in that regard. And the thing that's uncanny about them is the feeling that they seem almost too unartificial. Boy, I hope I don't play off my hand too difficultly. That kind of description, I don't know. But they are still androids. In the setting, they're even still androids. And if there's a sudden surprise about them, the surprise actually still is in line that they are androids. They are still. It is not a question of whether or not they are robots. It is known that they are robots, and it is even obvious in some ways that they are still robots. Are you gonna sit or no? You, you, you. How did you make my computer make a noise there? How, sir? Hit one button on my goddamn computer on my keyboard and somehow made a noise. I swear this boy. He has talents. That's a little bit more. Thank you. Shade the part. I'll shade the parts like that. This is the thing. I also have decided that a lot of their visual design, like this particular one, the particular android that my players are going to be interacting with is still like dressed. They're still dressed as like a crew member. They still wear a dress, and I even have a certain amount of explanation for that, I guess. That that kind of giving them a little bit of derp eye. Kind of gave them a little bit of derp eye on accident. We'll just put it this way. I'm feeling pretty inspired by a combination of Signalis, Valhalla, and Alien for these androids. These androids are not going to be simple. Oh, and of course, classic. Why can I only think of the name of the book? Which is a really good book. I highly recommend Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. It's very, very good, actually. Um, highly recommend it. Very good book. Not required reading for this, but it is quite good. Hey, Blade Runner. Like I have kind of become a little bit more invested in the concept of androids being more than just a robot that looks incredibly like a human. And that is definitely something I want to do with the androids in my setting. Without getting into details, it's so tempting for me to, but I know that's like no, no, I can't. Like even if I really want to, or even if it never gets brought up, I don't want to reveal what the deal is because it'll be a part of it, right? It'll be a part of the reveal of the setting to be like, oh, that's their deal. And I that's what I want the takeaway for them to be is you should feel your feeling it should be not that they're antagonistic, is that oh, that's what they are. Um and I don't know, I actually feel like I need to go back and rewatch some of my Signalis playthrough because I feel like fairly early on they actually talk about what constitutes the replicants. Like pretty early, it's pretty quick that you realize, oh shit, these aren't just androids. It's like common knowledge what these kind of people are. But I do feel like my particular setting and the way that the androids are going to be handled, it is a more closely held secret into what makes them tick. They are not simply just androids, but it isn't common knowledge what makes them unique as androids. And I want to kind of preserve that to a certain extent. Listen, I just made it clear that the only way you're going to be able to tell. That's another thing is like I do want to try to preserve that like it's obvious that they're still androids somehow. There's a couple ways I could do this. This. Yeah, just attach some random bullshit to their head. That always works. One way to always. That's the anime way of being able to denote that something is an android, I feel like. I love this cat. I do not understand his problem with me. I do not understand his problem with me having my lap or my keyboard in my lap. He hates it. He hates when I put my keyboard in my lap. It's so weird. I don't understand why. I understand not why. Oh, there's already an ad coming. Damn, that hour went fast. Man, that was fast. But I definitely am feeling very inspired by not just your bog standard Android. I feel very inspired in a specific way that's gonna make that I hope will make for a really interesting experience because it is utilizing things that I like from other pieces of media regarding androids in a way, and also utilizes something kind of unique about an interpretation of what how those kind of androids work. Also, it just gave me the excuse to essentially give a character a Mortal Kombat face. It's an android because they've got a Mortal Kombat face. That's what makes them an android. But I do want the androids to be human. I do want them to feel as human as possible, but still maintain that in the canon they are androids, and they definitely are androids. That is not a question. The setting, they are robots. Like I don't want the be I much like as Mothership tries to tell the GM to the players, I am being 100% honest that the secret behind them has nothing to has nothing to do with them not ultimately being a robot. It still has everything to do with them being a robot. It's how they're a robot that I hope lands. It's the nature behind what makes them a robot that I hope lands. Because I really like Signalis, and I will say first and foremost that I will not just say they are. I did not simply just make androids that were secretly humans, because my thought process is their secret is something upsetting, maybe even a little grotesque, that has nothing to do with them not being a robot at the end of the day. They are still a robot. They are still going to be a robot. They are still going to be an android. They're still going to be a computer system at their core. And that's the part that I want to like be able to be unique about it, is that I promise, and I did think about it. I was like, maybe one of the secrets is that secretly, and this is how I'm going to be honest, that it's not this, is like I'm being willing to say it. I did consider, like, okay, maybe one of the secrets of making an android is that they were the copy of an identity to be able to upload into a computer to give them artificial intelligence. I considered that. But it's like, while I was stewing, I came up with something different that I really like that will interface well with the game, because it means that they will have a different kind of stakes regarding something that is happening in the game. They will be able to interface in a very specific way regarding a very specific thing that is happening that is going to make them upsetting. And I like that. And it actually divorces itself from the reveal of Signalis and stuff like that, that secretly it was a person. It's not that simple, and it's not just that. Because I want it to be a different kind of existentialism, a little bit. And it's not about being like, who was the person that I was. Instead, you're going to get something very different. And I'm sure, you know, thinking about it now, I'm like, oh wait, I know what I'm kind of doing now. I know what I've kind of made, but it doesn't need to go into that anyways. So, everything's been done already. I'm never gonna make anything original, so I might as well swing with it. With the idea of this is me processing the idea of it, and at least I feel like the presentation of it is still not one-to-one to any given piece of media that you could argue my androids are directly influenced by, whether that be Signalis, um, Alien, Blade Runner. I could name another piece of media, but it might actually ruin something. So I'm not going to. Because I just thought of it too. I was just like, oh shit, that's just what that is in a certain sense, which is great, which means I need to reread that book. That might actually be the book I read for Halloween this year. I won't say what, but it will be important specifically for androids, which is weird. Man, more than I think about it, that book is like one of the earliest interpretations of an android. And you don't get to know what book I'm talking about until we finally play this game. And I make a reveal about what book this character design made me think of. There's a reason why. It has everything to do with the fact that that book is not really the thing in that book is not really an android so much as it's something else entirely. But the way that I'm kind of thinking about the androids in this setting are very similar. I won't say what. I won't spoil what it is. That said, here's what we're gonna do. This of like this. And now this is where I have to figure stuff out. There's two there are two kind of like regional locations that are the most robotic element of this character design. Um, this is probably just my personal preference of character design happening right now, but you'll see. You'll see. Which is why I need to zoom this out a little bit. Isaac, you can't just keep giving everything dinosaur legs. I want to. I want to make him look uniquely. Can't just give everything a dinosaur leg. That's why I was like, this needs to be a little bit more full body. Zoom out a little bit because I'm a little zoomed in. This is where things get a little bit messy, but I do want this. I do want this somehow. I need to think about it carefully. I want it to be this way. Big thing I need to work on here. Actually, legs. Even look. Again, I want to make it clear like that it's not just because of superficial features. Like there are clear superficial features that to everyone there's no reason to think that that the androids in the setting aren't still just robots. Like they are robots and they have superficial features that make them robots. They aren't it's there is a lot going on with them. Second, I might have these a little bit to be higher. I almost want it to be just like this. That maybe. Also, what can I say? For somebody who's never really been a furry, I do like me some nice reverse joints. I don't know why. I like reverse joints. True, it just never happened. It's not a thing. They do like me some nice reverse joints. Probably the dinosaurs. I just like reverse joints because of dinosaurs. Birds. That shit. Nothing to do with liking furry shit. Me. It's just me. Ain't nothing wrong if you like it. I have no I have no I have no reason I have no qualms. E. this more up here. Yeah. Yep. Needs to be up here. Legs need to start up. I need to look up a reference. I need to look up a reference real fast because I need to look at the outfit design real fast. I'm getting a little confused. I'm getting a little confused around the. I knew the leg area was going to be the toughest part for me. I feel like that was where I was like, these are the two areas that I'm actually going to get an opportunity to try to flesh this out in a way to make them not just, not just a human who you look at and say, oh, they're a robot because they've got shit on their head and they don't have a mouth. Like, I was trying to find some way to really distinguish them as robots, and I really do want to do that. Right, right. Do this. Line down that way. A little bit thicker. Then light hair. I drew them with gray hair in the stream ad, so something like that. Might need to reposition the eyes for a second. The eyes seem to be bugging me a little bit. Perfect. I actually really like that. I like what I did with the eyes there. That helped a lot, actually. I think I made him too big. Again, the intent that I'm going for here is that they are an android. They are not. They are an artificial intelligence. They should feel like one. There's just an uncanny thing about them that people are picking up on, but nobody knows what their deal is. Nobody knows what the deal is with androids in this setting at the moment. They just know that for being fairly advanced, they are unusually they're un yeah, they are unusually um like human like. Ooh, I really like this design now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like this design quite a bit. And again, the idea is that they still utilize like outfits. They still utilize the outfits that the players will. They still utilize the kind of outfits that are in the setting, so they're just dressed like everybody else. Yeah, I nailed it. I got it. I got it in one. Yeah, I think I nailed the thing that I'm going for. I was really struggling last time. I wanted to try to like be like, okay, I want an android. Uh and I waffled. I fucking waffled on designing an android. I feel like that's a failure on my part because that's like the kind of shit that I like. That's the kind of science fiction that I really enjoy. If there's anything my friends know about me, I like androids. And we don't gotta unpack that statement. So I felt really, really like kind of self-conscious last time when I started drawing, and I was like, I want to start drawing whatever I think this setting's android looks like, and I was really struggling to do it. I was kind of getting frustrated with myself about it. I was like, man, I can't draw. Surely I can do a unique android. Androids are like my thing. I think I just needed to step away from it. I think I just needed to step away from it for a minute. Sitting back there, not this. Got all here. exactly do I want to? Yeah, I'm very happy with this. I actually think this nails exactly what I'm going for as far as like what I want to get out of designing a an Android for this setting. Like, because I want to establish pretty early on that like they are still very much they are unique for an Android in how that they slot into the setting. Um, but they are still very much an artificial android intelligence. They're not, and that they're not just Ash. They aren't just going to be Ash, I promise. They're not just going to be Ash from Alien. I also have some ideas on what to do with them because I kind of like what Valhalla was doing with Dorothy as far as like that kind of like AI in that I feel like a lot of pieces of media immediately go to like the kind of extreme of a robot's bad, right? Like, and then we start treating them like shit, and it's like, yeah, but I kind of came up with something that I really want to explore, and I gave it, I I want to kind of like work on this a little bit more to try to flesh out how I want to handle it. Um, because what I have written down that I was really proud of is like such a small detail. It's a small detail that I think will say something more about the setting than because that's the thing is like I don't want it to be like okay now we gotta explore what the hell this thing is, but it's more just like a thing that exists in the setting to give the kind of like space of what robotics went in this setting, what the direction that robotics went. Um, and it doesn't have maybe I could do like a whole side thing on my own to try to flesh it out, but it's not the kind of thing that I think will be mentioned even. Like even if it's mentioned, it's going to be mentioned as like an actually part of the setting. Like it's just like, oh, it's just a thing that people know exists and that it has nothing to do with like anything narrative wise. It's just going to be for set dressing. If I can find my fucking notes, Where are my where are my game notes on my phone? Here we go. About to say I wrote a lot of good shit. Here we go. Let's see. I I I depicted this kind of android and wrote the detailed note of they're often service robots with at least 3 levels of autonomy. And I want to try to like illustrate that, but as like a common knowledge thing, not as a thing that's going to be explored, right? I mean, ain't that just the way? Isn't that just the way? That's the reason why I'm doing this. I started playing an Age of Darkness. I keep on calling it Age of Darkness, World of Darkness, and a Wild Sea game with my friends. And we played before that we played a combination Monster of the Week and um uh oh fuck, what's the name of that game? Fabula, which I have to admit, if I'm ever going to do a fantasy style game, we're going to do it in Fabula so we can do our dream JRPG. I would love to do a Fabula game live. Like, I love D&D and all, but I think Fabula would be a lot of fun with me and my friends, and we could do, like, a more silly adventure with that. But for this, I really want to make it a point that, like, there are known levels of autonomy, and there's probably like maybe one level higher. So like one level of autonomy is like they can move and they can manipulate stuff. That's a level 1. Level 2 of autonomy would be like you can have a conversation with it, but the conversation isn't necessarily sensical. Like you can talk to it and it can provide you information. Level 3 autonomy would be like, can have meaningful engagement and interaction with, to a limited extent. Like, they probably don't necessarily have what we would have as expression, but they can dynamically process information and hold like personal conversations. That would be a level 3 of autonomy. So they're not expressive individuals, but they are dynamic sentient beings. That is what I would qualify in my setting as a level 3 or a type 3 autonomy. Type 4 would be true expression. That would be in full sentience, like they can make creative thought. So the difference is 3 can process information and make opinions. 4 is being able to make unique ideas. That's the kind of premise I'm going on. And that these level of androids are kind of, so like level 1 autonomy might not even be just moving things. Level 1 autonomy is being able to find an answer to something. Level 2 autonomy is being able to no. Level 1 autonomy is being able to do math. Level 1 autonomy in a robot in this setting is they can do math really good. They're a calculator. That's what they do. Level 2 autonomy, they can answer questions. That is all that they can do. They don't think, they don't really genuinely do any sort of processing of any information. They just can tell you an answer to a question, or they can give you an answer to a statement. Alexa level. And then level 3 is data processing. They can process information, they can give you a complex answer, they can give you like processed information, but they don't actually have any form of expression. Like they don't really express, they just can process information and digest it and reiterate it and even come up with their own conclusions. That's like, it's like soft sentience is what I would say. It's like, it's not that they don't think, it's that they think still fairly rigidly, and that they don't go beyond that, I guess, if that makes sense. And that doesn't mean that they don't have character and they can't have personality, but like it's very rudimentary. That's why I say it's like a level 3 of autonomy. Like they have a level of sentience in that they are aware and that they can process information, but they don't have the capacity to make things from scratch. They have to work off of a baseline of some kind. And then level 4 would be creative thought, being able to generate information from scratch, like being able to make a unique idea. That's what I would say. And I would say that in the setting, those kinds of levels are not common and are not being utilized. They might be experimental, but they are not being like in anything. So like 3 is like the highest known denominator of robot intelligence in the setting. And I say that very specifically as robot intelligence because I now need to reread iRobot, because iRobot gives the best Android robot setting out there because it literally coins an entire field of study known as robot psychology, which I think is fascinating that doesn't ever seem to be discussed in any other form of robot fiction I've ever seen. Most robot fiction is about androids and robots from the standpoint of the conflict of interest between living entities and human beings and robot sentience. Sure, fine. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But nothing talks about like processing to a certain extent how a robot thinks. Because a robot doesn't think like how we think. A robot thinks very differently. And they have to. It makes sense that they have to a certain extent. you know. And that's why I want to make it like a fairly like straightforward point to not lie to the viewers and the players that like they run off of robotic psychology. They are not secretly a brain inside there in any capacity. They are still a robotic computer at their core. They are being run by robot processes. They have computer components and robot components. There's just something unusual about them that people have picked up on that but isn't necessarily like open declassified. There's a lot of rumors on what these kind of robots are, what makes them what they are, including kind of some of those ideas that secretly they're a brain inside of a jar. But I will say, like, there have also been reports that people have done unsavory things to these individuals and have not found a brain inside of them. They have found other disturbing things that are quickly like thrown under the rug about them. They're commonly declassified they're commonly classified very quickly. So a lot of it is hearsay on what exactly makes these robots unique. It is not. It's a lot of rumor than it is. It's a lot more rumor than it is known fact on what makes these robots what they are. Which I want to leave it that way until it gets brought up at least to a little bit more capacity, so that way it's at least a little bit of a surprise. And I think I know how it's going to be a surprise, and it will be very upsetting. It actually won't have anything to do with finding out what makes this kind of character tick. It's going to be more about what finding about what this character how this character's body works. It'll be upsetting, and it will have something. Hope ideally it will be revealed or at least insinuated through a very awful thing happening. I don't know if it'll happen to this character in particular, but I kind of hope it doesn't. But I'm prepared for if it does. Shrink the head a bit. That's what it is. I think their head is too big. Your head is too big. Head is too big. Do that. I need to erase this line a little bit. I just like messy hair. I just like messy hair. I can't help myself. Yeah. First off, just real fast. We're there. I really like this kind of graphite feel I've given this. It just gives it a lot more texture, I feel like, in a way that I really appreciate. I'm gonna go the opposite. Darken up these edges. Trace that a little bit more. I love this eraser. It just does a really good job of just kind of like blending a little bit more, but helps remove some of that flatness a little bit without having to immediately remove everything. That's also what I like about it. Light. A little bit. That. Yeah, I'm much happier about that. Don't your claws. Oh, it's a squishy face. Comfy boy, you can always sit in my lap. You know this. Except you only want to do it when I'm trying to use my freaking future, or when I'm trying to use, specifically my. When I'm specifically trying to use my keyboard, which I still don't understand why he's so picky about that. It's just so weird. Honestly, more like that. Just for that. Ah! Oh my god! Go to heck. Can't believe they'd say it twice. Cool. Bigger. So then, one of the things I like to do a lot more of these days is being able to use an eraser. Go in and just help. So the most important thing is that he's depicted. That's the most important thing, I think. That this character is depicted. Love graphite. Gotta love a graphite feel. And I feel like this is doing a lot to really provide that kind of gritty graphite feel as well. And what can I say? I like me a good reverse joint. I can't help myself. If I could give people dinosaur legs, I would. And that's why I did. If I could have dinosaur legs, I would. Frankly, I see no problem in this. This assessment anyway. Something like that. You'd like dinosaur legs too? Exactly. Okay, well, sure. I don't know what it is. I just like I like a good reverse joint. That's why I'm like, and also I think again like I wanna make it clear that it's not a question. It's not like people aren't sure that they're robots. There's just something off about them. Like there's something unusual about them. But it's not that they aren't robots. Everyone knows and can tell, and it's clear that they're definitely still a robot. That these androids are still, at their core, an artificial entity. They're not robots. They're not robots. But something is uncanny about them, definitely. Which is really what I want to lean into and why I hope that it like is an interesting like sci-fi thing that ends up getting brought up. Again, a lot of this is me flexing my interest and capacity to really start branching into science fiction because of stuff like this. I have an interest in science fiction, so I want to be able to explore science fiction ideas that are more interesting than just that are going to be playing in the space of like, oh, that is a potential thing we could do. That's the thing. I could see this being something in our future that could exist. That's the important thing to remember here. This is this isn't just this isn't just I've made a Signalis robot. I've made a an alien robot. I haven't just recreated that something existed. I've tried to like really analyze this and think about it like what is a way that we could see automatons exist? And I could see this being a real automaton that exists in our future. But I do want it to be secret enough that I don't just want to tell everybody what it is. Even though I really want to tell everybody what it is, because it's pretty buck wild, in my opinion. But in a way, it's actually no, it's not buck wild. It's fairly. I think what I like about it is, and what appeals to me about the concept behind it is that I could see this being a robot that exists as a robot that is definitely a robot and is upsetting due to what it takes to make this kind of robot, not that it secretly was just a man in a box all along. Like again, I do think that the kind of robot design I'm going for here is upsetting for the robot as much as it is upsetting for everybody else. For starters, these robots do need to utilize these suits as intended. Um, and that they do show a form of respiration. They do actually require a form of respiration. They do seem to breathe. Uh, they don't seem to eat though. They can't eat. They or not that they can't. They do not eat. They don't eat and they don't grow. But they do seem to respire. Like they do seem to breathe. That's why again, like I really want to lean into the idea that the kind of robot I'm constructing is awful, but not unfathomable. It's the kind of thing that if it was to exist, there would be a reason why people would want to keep it a secret. At least I would think so. You wouldn't want people to know that, oh, that's what my robot is. No guessing in chat. I won't respond. zoom in a little bit more. And also slightly inspired by because something Stalker's Reign actually helped with this. Stalker's Reign has a very good android that I really like. Levi is great. Levi is a great character in that show. Without spoiling anything, they have a very fascinating thing happen to them that I am definitely inspired by. I feel like the thing that happens to Levi in Stalker's Reign, I was immediately like, okay, all right, that's something to consider that I hadn't considered before. And now I have now gone and tried my own thing, which I hope will like. But Levi's great. I really liked Levi from Stalker's Reign. They're a very fascinating concept. Hello, Silos. I'm drawing a robot. Can you tell? Say yes or no. If you can't, I can zoom out and then I can say, can you tell now? How about now? How about now? It's at least better. But they are a robot. And I mean that. I mean that. I say that so intently because it's not supposed if there's any reveal about these guys, it will only affirm that they are a robot, just a very upsetting robot. But I want to point I want the point to be that the androids in the setting are still androids. They're still androids. How dare you, slime? How dare you? That's the thing. Am I good? Here, I will do this for everybody. Uh, that's why can't I spell Quincy backwards? Say hi to Quincy. Find out if I spelled Quincy right. Yay, Quincy. Yeah, I saw. People are getting that, it's just that time. Like, I mean, it's just gonna happen one at a time. We're just gonna keep hearing about people, but that's because that's what happens. That's what happens. Okay, so here, I have an idea. I like this. I might do a little bit more for Quincy, but we'll see. However, go on a different layer. I'm gonna draw them naked for you. I'm gonna draw them naked for all y'all, you freaks. Nope, no Pete pics. No Pete pics. Uh, Something like this. Something like that. Font. Like that. Sitting down, maybe. Hydrate bot. Hydrate bot. God damn. Like, this is the thing. I've designed them in a certain way that they still wear clothing. I also feel like they're like kind of like level 3 of autonomy. They've also developed, the future has developed in such a way in which that um that androids with at least ascension, with at least an autonomy of 3, are seen as sentient. And we, again, like, I don't have to go into the specifics of the setting, but on some level they are seen as independent beings, like they can operate as independent beings. So they'll have like things that they're ads in a minute. Ads in a minute. Didn't say shit. It is 2 hours in. Thank you for the warning. Thank you for the warning. I swear, my ad notifier does not notify me of ads as much as it should. It really should notify me of ads more, and it doesn't. There. Now my ad notifier finally showed up, and it says now ads in 50 seconds, even though you said it like 30 seconds ago. I swear, it's just bullshitting me. Interesting. There seems to be some kind of latency. I don't know what determines it, because right now it's supposedly saying that your ads are starting just now, but mine still had a 30-second delay to let people know. So I have no idea. Ad break now? Show the goddamn thing. Show the goddamn thing. Ad break now? Show the goddamn thing. I'll take a break as soon as the ad break shows up. There it goes. So maybe that, again, you made me do this. Don't you report me for drawing a naked robot. I had to draw a naked robot to show how there there is a very specific design I'm going for here. Regarding these androids, to make it like really make it like as clear as possible that for all intents and purposes, it is not a secret that they are robots. Like, it is not a question that they are robots. They are robots. That is not what is being questioned when it comes to these kinds of androids that I've designed for this setting. The question is something that makes them feel like they aren't just androids. There's something uncanny about them. However, it isn't as simple as they're just secretly evil. It is more complicated than that because everything still points to, on a superficial level, that they are still a robot. Still, why'd you gotta make me draw a naked robot? Dang it. You didn't have to twist my arm about it. You didn't have to say absolutely nothing and just think and perceive that they probably didn't look enough like a robot. This also should not. This shouldn't. You do. Bastard. You the asshole. Saying. Mm-hmm. I'll put it this way, regardless of what you guys learn about it, the fucking robots don't have genitals. That's just gonna be a fact. They don't. They don't got balls. The robots don't have balls. That's all you need to know. The robots do not have balls. They do not have a mouth. They don't have any holes. Not factory standard, at least. Exactly. Yeah, they have to get those installed. The horny bots. They get those installed separate. Yeah. Yeah, they got hands. But the robots don't got balls. We went to a store that was selling secondhand stuff. There was an entire barrel of Barbie dolls and a single Ken doll. I can't imagine worse hell for poor Ken. Listen, it's that's just the Barbie movie. Honestly, guys, if you haven't seen the Barbie movie yet, it's quite good. It is. It's very good. I highly recommend it. It's very very good. Oh no. Means you just predicted it. That means that Goodwill just predicted the Barbie movie. Like this. I like that. Up along that way. That way. Really want to denote with this that starting off, there are different sections. I think something like that. And then this, actually, erase, and we're going to change. Something. What is something? Just imagine more beautiful women than you can count, and there's nothing you can do with them. I mean, that's my favorite bit from that movie, right? Or from that movie, right? Is when they go to to the human world, and one of the first things that Barbie says is, "He and I do not have genitals." That made me go, "Oh, this isn't a kids movie." I mean, I genuinely love the Barbie movie. It's really good. It's so goddamn good. I love how confused those construction workers look when she says that. Like, what the fuck? And then Ken's response is, I have like all the genitals. It's so good. Yeah, I saw the end. Great. She goes to her gynecologist. I mean, it's an ending bit, so probably. Probably does now. Probably didn't at the beginning of that movie. There you go, you sickos. There you go, you sickos. One naked robot. This is why I was saying, like, it is not simple. It's not simple. They are they are robot. They are a robot. They are they are supposed to be more of a robot with human features than like a cyborg or something. She doesn't. Oh wait, no, that was for Barbie. Can't believe you guys made me draw a naked robot. I might get in Twitch. Twitch. You better not report me to Twitch. Just saying. Can't believe you made me do this. You twisted my arm so much. Is this bit funny anymore? Is this bit ever funny? Maybe I was the only one who found this bit funny. Probably just me. And you know what? I think I now realize why you insisted so much to make sure that they had hands. Listen, that's going to be something different in the setting. That won't have anything to do with robots. And I'm not going to explain myself and what I mean by that. I'm not even going to explain what I mean by that. Just had to prove that they're a robot, that's all. And that I didn't just rip off Signalis' design, okay? I wanted to make it clear that I had my own anime robot design in mind, okay? Wanted to just I would say I was like a little insecure about that because I didn't want it to be so obvious. I wanted to I have the desire to be able to utilize my inspirations to do something new and unique. I don't want to just make Signalis robots. We already have Signalis robots. I don't want to make Signalis robots. We already got those. They're good robots. We don't need more of them. Here you go. This is the beach episode that is never gonna. This is gonna be the unaired beach episode of the fucking of the fucking mothership game. Got taken off the air before it even arrived. Too controversial. Made the robot hot. I'm sorry. I'm at the point of life that I'm like, you know what? I have one hot take. Let people make characters hot. It's fine to make a character hot. That's fine. Doesn't have just the only asterisk is like also make them a person. Make them a complex hot person. You can make a complex hot person. Just say it. Complex hot people are well written, developed characters. And they're hot. There you go. There's your Silos, you sicko. There you go. Does that foot do anything for you? This is coming from a premier foot person. Does that foot do anything for you? Man, I there was a pretty good joke that one of my friends made on the trip. I don't remember the exact context, but at some point he just looks at me and he's just like, I can tell you're, out of everyone here, you're the one into kinky stuff, aren't you? And I went, God, do I make it that obvious? Might slim this necessarily that much of a class figure. Man, I'm having more fun drawing them naked than I was drawing them with clothes on. Shit! I can't keep saying that. Twitch might actually get mad at me. If I say it too many times that I've drawn a character nude, that Twitch might actually think that I'm actually drawing somebody nude. Hey, there's no bits. There's technically skin, but there's no bits. Hey, this isn't even 100% skin. This is like 30% skin on this thing. Might need to make that leg a little, actually. Like a little bit. And I really want to lean into yuck. I really want to lean into the idea that, again, like they they're like bridging the gap, right? Like again, they're still characters, they still have they're still a character, they still have a personality. They just have a really cool reserved personality, but they're still a personality. Again, they can process and digest information. They just can't they just are very limited on expression, but they can process ideas and they can make ideas based on ideas they're faced with. That's the idea I go with like a level 3 of autonomy, right? Like they can obtain and process information and come up with a unique result. That is something that they're capable of. That is something that they're able to utilize logic in a three-dimensional way. That's what gives them that kind of hierarchy level, is that they can three-dimensionally process information. They just can't impart create that much creativity, but they can process information very, very, very with perspective. They can process information with perspective. I think that's what I'm going for. That's why it's a three-dimensional processing of information as a robot goes. So they're not just reading a Google page. You don't ask them a question and then they look it up on Google inside of their brain and give you an answer. They actually answer your question based on their perspective through through processing the information. And it's still a robotic level of processing, but it is a perspective processing. It is not an information processing. They don't process information just based on the information they know. They process their information based on the perspective they hold through things that they've learned and through things that they've experienced. That's why I want to like really toe the line with kind of like how Valhalla handles Lilum, really like the way Valhalla handles Lilum because they treat them very matter of fact, and they treat them as people asterisk but different. They are people but different. Like they still have character and personality and clearly like process their environment as a sentient being would, but they also have their own thing going on, right? They have their own kind of thing going on as a robot sentience that kind of still makes them different in perspective compared to a human being. Like they still process information differently because they're not a human being. But that doesn't mean that they're not sentient and that they don't have perspective. And that's the kind of idea I'm going with this kind of thing is that they are the some of the androids in the setting, even the more robotic androids, have developed that at least that level 3 of kind of pseudo sentient information digestion. I say pseudo sentient. That kind of level of sentience of information digestion. They can digest and process information to a capacity to be able to make an opinion. They can make opinions based on their perspective. This level of autonomy also oftentimes precludes them to being able to make decisions. They oftentimes decide what they end up doing as a job. It's just most of the jobs they end up taking are relatively similar. They oftentimes take service kinds of jobs, jobs that allow them to work a lot with other people and other humans and other robots of their class. Um, they're very personable. And as such, they actually have in this setting been granted a certain amount of like independent citizenship in this setting, but a lot of this setting is about exploring how really nobody, even people, really have any sense of like independence at this point in the setting. It's all very controlled by higher order of power corporate entities. And again, that is not a secret. That is not something that I'm like, that's something to learn. Actually, no, quite the opposite. If you're watching this, it's a good way to give you a little. I will probably, from now on, be talking a little bit about the setting based on what you will already know and what has been told in the game. We'll be discussing what's in the game, but anything that isn't in the game that I discuss here is things that would be common knowledge in that setting. It'd be things that you would that are like. That's why I'm like, people know that these are robots. People really know that these are robots. There is nothing that anyone has found, even domestically, to state otherwise. There is nothing that shows evidence that what makes them different as far as androids go in this setting has anything to do with them ultimately not still being a robot. They are still an automaton. God, of all the things I've drawn, if this ends up being the thing that gets the lewd art, I'm gonna be like, yeah, yeah, I kind of play. I'm just gonna say, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna feel bad about it. I'm just gonna be like, well, at least it's something I like. I actually don't think nobody's what. Well, that's not 100% true. That's not 100% true. There has been one kind of horny thing drawn of a character that I've drawn. Somebody's done a horny hydrate man. Somebody has done a horny hydrate man, which I fucking love, by the way. Granted, I still think if you're really gonna go that far, this is my whole thing. I care about character consistency and anatomy. You're going to draw a horny hydrate man. Even if he's trying to boink, he does not have. He doesn't. He does not have tools. He doesn't. If you give him tools, you've drawn Hydrate Man wrong. I'm just saying. My point is I'm not saying you can't find creative ways to make Hydrate Man boink. But if you have to give him any genitals, you did it wrong. Just saying. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If you're gonna do porn of my art, you better pay attention to the anatomy of the characters I make, especially when they're not people. when they're not humans. I guess to a certain degree, Hydrate Man would qualify as like a slime man. I guess? Because he's mostly water. That's the thing. He's more water than anything else. Ah, jeez. This is gonna. Guys, this will be the secret scene my friends get if they walk in on this character into, like, fucking. In the. The locker room. Sorry. Being 5 years old. Please don't ban my stream. Please don't report me to Twitch. I don't want to get in trouble. There's also a character from Cyberpunk Edge Runners this reminds me of. Who's the girl who doesn't have a mouth? I forgot her name. The scary. She is scary. She's cool. I love her design. And I love that they didn't give her a mouth. Not like Kiwi, is it? I don't think it's Kiwi. Is it Kiwi? It's not Kiwi. It's something else. I mean, I think it's still important to have pictures like this, actually, from a, like, technical standpoint of my setting. Like, again, when they're completely dressed, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, actually. Which I think is what makes them effective androids from that kind of perspective, right? Like, as far as an android goes, it's hard to actually tell that they're not a robot without, like, looking at superficial features. Like, I think that's kind of the intent of an android, right? Certain extent, androids are meant to emulate people as much as possible while still retaining that they are a robot. Whereas stuff like this at least solidifies that they're at least more robot. They're definitely more robot. Like they are artificial. They aren't I even want to like make it a point that they're not just, um uh Blade Runner. Where's the USB slot? It ain't down here. It ain't down there, buddy. USB slot is here. I actually like that. I like the idea that the neck is like a neural transport spot. That makes sense. But that's not to say that this kind of character design won't have its fair share of body horror in this setting. Trust me. I have some stuff cooking that's going to if it doesn't happen to this character, it's gonna happen to an android. And it's gonna be nasty. Because originally the main antagonist of the setting is clearly very biology based, and I think there's like oftentimes this feeling that androids are, you know, androids are like impervious isn't the term I'm looking for. They oftentimes androids are kind of, they feel like anyways that they're depicted that they've got like kind of a leg up on things, right? Like androids oftentimes don't need to breathe, don't need to eat, are really strong, are really powerful. I really want to make this a point of like there is a couple of things that restrict this android. For one, again, can't do actually cannot survive outside of an atmosphere. They do need to be able to breathe and are not pressure resistant fully. There are portions of their body that if they're out of atmosphere would have problems. I don't know what the next thing I was going to discuss on that list was. Can't think of it off the top of my head. Another thing is, even given the nature of these robots, I want to make it clear that it's like, it's not, it's, they're still very weak. If anything, they're oftentimes described as mannequin-like. Like very much parts of these robots feel very much like a mannequin. It's kind of the idea I'm going for. I did have to ultimately I did ultimately have to cave and do the anime thing of you can tell they're a robot because they've got a random thing sticking out of their head. I mean, yeah, 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 yeah. Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you gotta. Make it a control antenna. Kind of. That's what I'm going for. But I don't like things that are just sticking straight out. I don't like stuff like that. That actually doesn't look that bad though. I don't know. That looks silly to me a little bit, but it also doesn't look awful. Like that's the thing. I'm like not. I don't hate it. Sure, but you get it. Like you get it. It's like a transceiver. Weirdly enough, that doesn't look bad. I kind of like it because it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. I kind of don't hate it. Like I don't think I'll put them in, but I like it as an idea of like there are models of this that they do find this like cute and that they might do that. Like, oh man, I don't want to bend the rules too much because like no, 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 don't make me get the spray bottle, Silos. Silos, don't make me get the spray bottle. Right. Though I do want to make it a point that like this particular model is supposed to be slim, but generally neutral. Like it is gender neutral. Slim, feminine leading, gender neutral. That is definitely the the standard of this model. But it is neutral. That's why I made it a point that this design don't got titties. This design don't got titties. I mean, I know. Oh no, I know. I'm not here to argue that. I'm just saying there's a reason why. There's an intent here, okay? There's a creative intent with. almost don't want to now. I was like, no, draw the walkers behind. I really don't actually want to make this inappropriate. I really don't. I really, really don't. There's not a bit here. I don't actually want to. I don't want to. No, 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 no. I'm being silly too. You didn't say anything. I meant that I like had the thought. I was like, okay, the only way I could see them in this capacity is if they were like in a bathroom or something. So I put a locker behind them. I don't actually want to do that. It would be the setting would make the most sense to see this kind of person in this state would be inside of a bathroom or a shower room. That's inappropriate. They get the void. They get the white void with this one because I don't want to draw it. I don't want Twitch to get mad at me. Twitch got mad at me once for drawing boobs, okay? Yeah, it wasn't anything that you said. I was like, I just had that thought. I was like, God damn it. Spoil sports. Yeah. And that's the thing, like I want that to be that's something that's always going to be hot tub streams, exactly. Don't put this character. That's the thing is like no, this character's waterproof. They're actually known to like to enjoy taking showers. I'll actually say that's a part of their character. This model is literally called an Aquarius model, and they are known to enjoy showers. Strangely enough. Like, this is the thing. I want to make it a point that, like, there is a robot sentience happening here that's, like, developing, that has developed enough that it has been recognized. And, like, there are things that these robots can get stressed, and they get stressed. They get stressed in robotic ways, and they need to de-stress. And one of the ways that they de-stress, actually, is that they do and due to the nature of them kind of like being more of like this like they're kind of like soft spoken and like very appearance focused. They are appearance focused. They don't actually like being dirty. They don't. Again, they can process information and they can process perspective, and they have perspective. They have perspective on themselves. They have a three-dimensional thought process about the world around them. That is something that is known and canon to the setting. It is not it is not questioned that they can't engage with their environment in a three-dimensional way. They actually do engage with their environment three-dimensionally, and it is known that they engage with their environment three-dimensionally. And of course, what I mean by three-dimensionally is that they engage with the environment dynamically. They aren't completely robotic in everything that they do. I just think that they are largely limited on their ability to be creative, and that's it. They are mostly limited on their ability to be creative, but they still like have thought processes and do get strained and stressed about stuff. Like being stressed is kind of a unique element about this model, is that it actually reacts to stressing situations. Like there are things that can stress out this kind of robot. Again, and that the concept of robot psychology actually does exist in the setting as well. Again, it's a thing that Asimov brings up. Asimov designs an entire school of science for it, and it's never mentioned in any piece of media regarding androids and robots. It's astounding to me that I had to read that book to learn that concept ever even graced minds. To the point that I want to fucking do it. Robot psychology is such a fascinating concept. Why isn't it more of a thing? like I said, I said earlier, if you're gonna make, you're allowed to make a character hot. You're also allowed to make a character cute. You're allowed to make a character hot and cute. Just make them a three-dimensional character as well, or at least a two-dimensional character. Make them a person. Make them a thing that exists. In its space. You haven't read a lot of Asimov's work, but the fact that there's a field of study for robot psychology suggests that there's a lot of unknowns on how exactly positronic brains work. Exactly. That's what that. I highly recommend iRobot because of that. They examine that concept that positronic brains are brains. There's something that operates as a system that's beyond just being a computational system. And nothing ever talks about that. I don't know any piece of robot media that really even grapples with that idea that robot psychology as a concept is fascinating because it is a unique form of thinking that deserves attention of study and understanding. Like, what makes a robot think the way that it thinks is fascinating. Why is that not discussed more in sci-fi regarding robots? Like, they treat it as a complete field. They call it as it is, robot psychology. They don't call it psychology. They call it robot psychology. It is psychology specifically for understanding the way that robots think. We want to make it clear which parts. Because that's the thing, is these parts are definitely machine parts. Is what I want to be able to illustrate with this. Is that there are clearly robot parts in this robot person. The more you talk about it, the more it really doesn't sound like they're robots. I mean, yeah, that's why I keep saying it though. Is actually no, they really are. That's that's the thing. I want to make a point that there's something weird about these robots, but it isn't the fact that they aren't robots or that they are robots. I really like that design. She came out great. They came out great. They look great. I love the way that they're designed. I was really worried. I don't know why. Again, the last time I was trying to draw, I was like, I'm gonna give. I think it really helps that I was able to do some writing, and this is where it's interesting. I think there's a couple ways why the process that I'm doing, the drawing and the writing and everything, kind of side by side, is because there are things that I can draw that help me understand how something works, and then there are things that I write that help me understand how something works, and then I combine the two. I really had to write out what I thought these androids were before I could draw one. I really did. I had to really sit down and be like, okay, what makes the androids in the setting be androids? And what do I want to explore with them as androids? That helped me actually really get the frame of reference to be able to finally start being like, okay, this is what I'm going for, right? This is what I want to do, and what makes these still androids and true robots, while still giving them an interesting kind of twist on the formula that isn't just the robots from Signalis, isn't just the robot from any other piece of robot media I've seen. So it's a little weird to think the positronic brains could be made of the way they work is not well understood, but just look at our history with steel, soap, and magnets. Exactly. Exactly. Precisely. That's exactly it. That's why I get so That's why I get so like kind of like up in arms about that. I'm just like, actually no, the well is super deep there. The well is super deep there. We do now, exactly. That's his point, Silos, is that we don't really know how a positronic brain would work, but we would, through the study of the psychology for robots, we would better understand it. See, I could give the example that I thought of earlier that I'm gonna have to now read this book, but I can't tell you now because I do think it would. I think it would spoil the specific reveal to these robots that make them more than also just androids, but not just secretly they were people all along. Because I do need to read that piece of media again. I remember it being one of my favorite things I read actually in high school. I really enjoyed it, and I don't want to spoil it because now I'm like I definitely need to read it because it would be important for these automatons. It'd be specifically important for these automatons. Actually, it's so important that if I said what it was, if I said what it was, it would immediately be like, oh, oh. Like, again, I'm not lying. There's not the secret is not that they aren't secretly not robots. They are robots. They're just a specific kind of robot that is going to be very upsetting. Chat, you're not allowed to guess what I'm talking about. You're not allowed to guess what. If you say it, I'm gonna be like, God damn it. I actually don't know what that is. I know it's 40K, but I don't know what it is. Probably, actually. The little I know of 40K. I'll put it this way. It's not a Ghost in the Machine kind of thing. No. All right. No. That's the point. No. It is not they secretly have a human brain inside them. Actually not. That's the point. That's why I'm saying I didn't just take a human brain and put it inside of a box. It is more complicated than that. And that's why I'm really excited about it. Like, it isn't that. It's something else. And I'm excited for what it actually is. I know, but that's what I mean. Is like it's not just that. I promise. Like their actual processor, it's a computer processor. The thing that makes them a robot is still at its base a robot. It's still made out of artificial things. Like they still process like a computer. They have a computer inside of them. Stuff like that. Like, yeah. What about ghosts out of the machine? But yes, there's not like a ghost in the machine thing here. It's not that. If anything, the irony is it is something very visceral. And it's more of the nature about it, I think, that I want to play around with that will make it more upsetting rather than what it actually is. It's more of like what it takes to make a robot like this, not or the means by which a robot was made this way, not the things themselves. But I have to confirm again, the robot don't got balls. I just I've done this before. The I will give Fresco this much credit. Its emulation of a physical media is so convincing that my brain just did that thing where you automatically do something because it's like second nature, and I just blew on it to like try to wipe off like excess graphite on ax. I just blew on my screen. It's not gonna do anything. The fucking screen. Is this like Homeworld where they clone the brain of a person? Nope. Again, I thought about that. I actually considered that. No, it is a machine to its base. It is a machine to its base. Even to the point that the artificial intelligence, even if it's like what they do in Valhalla, where Dorothy and all Lilum are based on like maybe a digitized brain, like consciousness, that's probably common knowledge, but it's not astounding, right? Like that's not a secret. Like it's that their root processes are based on a logic of whoever worked on their processing. Like it's based on the root of that, but then that person decided to give them the ability to have evolving thought where they can think. Essentially, they can think and thus am, right? Like maybe they're given the base thought process of something, but then are able to individualize. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what's going to happen Friday. I love science fiction, and I have been stewing on this for the last 2 months intently, and for the last 8 years on the back burner. This kind of stuff. And there's so much more. There's so much more than I ever went into in that original game back in 2017. Like, androids didn't exist in this setting. Believe it or not, I made a setting where androids didn't exist. Trust me. Kid me put androids in the first book he tried to write. Asimov's science is better than his characters. That's fair. I do like some of his characters. I like a lot of the robots. Except for the mind reading robot, he can go in the garbage where he belongs. He does get an existential crisis, and I like that about him. But I don't like anything else about the mind reading robot. I agree with Sean. He's not very good. We all should. I need to finish House of Leaves. I made progress. I read maybe about 20 more pages. I don't even know if I read 20 pages. I read like 10 pages. So bad at reading books. That's not like a compliment. I'm genuinely really bad at it. It's not a good thing. Nobody should brag about the fact that they're not good at reading books. You're out there and for some reason you brag about that. Don't. You should want to read books. People should want to read books. You guys are making me drink water. I appreciate that. Yeah, for Leaves, and only cracked it open once. Highly recommend it, Slime. In fact, I need to read it because of this project. Because, believe it or not, House of Leaves will play an influence on this. And you'll see. You'll see Friday. This has swiftly become kind of a magnum opus of mine, so I am hoping that it goes well. I'll put it this way. For a live play, there is going to be a very, very important visual element that I'm super excited to share with everyone. And I'm super excited to see what we do with it, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm sorry, Silos. That's when my friends are available. Hey, you can always watch the VOD. What it's there for. That's the thing, is like that more so of any series that I've ever done, this is gonna be the one that it's like, if you missed it, watch the VOD. So this will be the most watch the VOD thing I've done out of probably anything that I've done. So go. There they are. trying to think how I want to. For weird side head bangs. For weird tusks. I do like that they kind of look like tusks. Add in 30 seconds. Blah! Gross. Hate it. I'm sorry for that for you. Everybody has to do that. You don't have to deal with ads. I'm proud of you. Because you supported the channel. Unless you don't support the channel. You don't support the channel and you don't have ads. You naughty, naughty person. You naughty person. What are you doing? Trying to make Google mad? Dirty, dirty little ones. I'm never saying that again, I promise. No, I won't. You can't make me. I do like this design a lot. I think this came out really good. Like, jokes aside and everything, I do think this design came out very, very well. And again, this is I want it I want this kind of thing to like give the contrast to establish like no, they are a robot. They are a robot. If you looked at this person like this and looked at them, they're a robot. They're a robot. Like that's the kind of design I'm going for is like the unsettling thing about them has to do more about with the nature of elements of what make them a robot rather than that they secretly aren't a robot somehow. That's not what I'm going for at all. If anything, the idea I'm going for is how parts of them are utilized to make them a robot, and that's what's going to be upsetting. Um, Again, I'm gonna give body horror to a robot. I'm gonna do it. I feel like oftentimes it's pretty unanimous that like whenever you're designing like a character, or not designing a character, but like oftentimes, god damn it, automatons are kind of like treated as like they've got a lot of free passes, and like no, not the ones in my setting. They don't have free passes. You still haven't read Frankenstein or Don Quixote, Orlando Ferrogio, The Prisoner of Zenata, nor Notre Dame de Paris. Frankenstein is really good. Frankenstein is really good. I need to reread Frankenstein, I think. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. No, Frankenstein is great. Mary Shelley does a really good job. And one of the interesting things about Frankenstein is Frankenstein. Thank you, Nosy. Don't know. This is actually for something that's going to happen Friday. So if you like this, you should definitely tune in Friday because this is for Mommy Ship. This is for my mothership game that I'm going to be running this weekend. So I'm excited. And welcome. And I hope you're having a good day. Back to what I was saying. Frankenstein is interesting in that you think that Frankenstein is going to be about Frankenstein. And you think that Frankenstein is going to be about the monster being a monster. What Frankenstein is about that makes it terrifying, in my opinion, is granting sentience to something and the nature behind what makes Frankenstein's monster a sentient being. That's the thing that people don't talk about. Frankenstein's monster is fucking sentient. And it's terrifying. And I won't talk more because I won't say more on that. I won't speak on that anymore. I don't think people know that. I think people think that Frankenstein's monster, but it's not, Silos, and that's what makes it great. I don't think it's as simple as it's just a reanimated person. Frankenstein is an individual. Like, he mentions that he has, like, memories and stuff, but he's still not the person he used to be. And I think that's what makes Frankenstein's monster an interesting thing and an interesting concept for what he is, because he's not just simply a reanimated corpse. He really isn't. He's utilizing the bodies of different people to create an individual. Exactly. I won't speak on that. Before I play my hand. But no, I'll put it this way. Without spoil... no, I can't. I will spoil something. I feel like I will. That's why I'm like, I can't say anything until we get more into the game. Because actually, Frankenstein's monster applies here. God, I'm gonna give it away. Fuck, I can't. I want to talk about it so bad because it'll help me process. I really, really want to talk about it. So, can't. No. 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 Yes! No. Actually, no. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I can't say anymore. What I'm saying is I can't say more. We're getting too close. Like, I actually... No. I will give you that. I will give you that. It is not a bunch of robots cobbled together. This is why I'm excited for this. I have made an android that is terrifying when you get to its literal nuts and bolts. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't you... Hey, Silos, Slime's on the right path with recycling should be a thing of the future. Again, because if I understand correctly, Frankenstein is reanimated, correct? But he doesn't even have his brain is not even his original body, right? Like, he's an amalgamation of different parts thrown together to make an individual. It's important to remember that Frankenstein's monster recognizes at some point that they aren't just remembering who they were, but that they are imparting a sense of individuality on themselves, even if they're utilizing not even an original brain. If they're using someone else's brain, Frankenstein's monster is still Frankenstein's monster, composed of the components of several dozen other people. And I want to say something, but it might give something away, so I can't say anything at all. Here. Oh, thank you, Hydrate Man. Thank you for the Hydrate Man for the um. Put it this way: without Frankenstein's monster, we would not have Signalis androids. Without Frankenstein's monster, um we would not have Blade Runner androids. Well, that could be. No, they're not contemporary. Frankenstein is way older than to to Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. In some ways, Frankenstein's monster is one of the first androids. God, I don't want to say more. I will only say to that. If you think about how Frankenstein monster actually works as a concept, he's an android. He's a really upsetting android. If you really break down what he does and what he is. Exactly. Exactly. That's why he's not just reanimated. He's not just a zombie. If he was a zombie, that's one thing. Not really a zombie. He's a he is a machine made out of human body parts. So, anyways, I need to reread. Um, you call him more of a golem than an android. That's also splitting hairs, exactly. Yeah, he's a construct. He's a construct, though. And I would still say constructs are androids. So, yeah. It's really good. I highly recommend Frankenstein. Like, it's so funny. They had, I remember, like, hearing this, like, from my friends, like, all those guys had like, competition of like, oh, I got Wolfman, I got Dracula, and then Mary Shelley comes out with fucking Frankenstein and makes maybe one of the first science fiction horror books ever made, and it's great. It's genuinely really good. It's it's really good. Fuck, I'm gonna have to reread. I might look up an audiobook for Frankenstein. I might listen to Frankenstein for the Halloween month. We'll see. Go about 15 minutes. I got some good progress done today. This is actually really good. So yeah, that's why I find Frankenstein particularly interesting because it's very much about examining more of like a machinist mindset and not just a necromancer mindset, right? Like it's not about bringing somebody back to life, it's about creating a functioning organism out of spare parts. Just so happens that that person is made entirely out of human body parts. So, ugh. Frankenstein is a mother in a way. Yes. Yes, he is. It's Frankenstein's mommy. Frankenstein is Frankenstein monster's mommy. You are correct. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? What? What was that for? He gave me a big yawn. Ah, Eto. He's here. The boy is here. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. This is why me and my friends, this is why I'm not joking. Like, me and my friends are really invested in tabletop. I'm invested in tabletop because of my friends, because we really, really enjoy writing a lot. I enjoy writing characters, and when it comes to sci-fi, I really enjoy writing settings a lot. I really like writing settings a lot. You wish your friends did more RP? Yeah. That's the thing, is like I didn't realize how good I had it until you start playing with people who just don't take an interest in utilizing RP even as a game mechanic. Like, a lot of people think RP is just like sitting around and making jokes, when in reality, RP mechanically gives you the capacity to talk through problems, in my opinion. Exactly. Is group storytelling. Precisely. Good RP should reward the players with not having to roll dice. I said it. Good RP, good RP, good player, like even like discussion interaction, like good RP for conversations. Your players should not have to roll, in my opinion. And actually, Mothership doesn't require you to. You can. Mothership has rulings to be able to add skills if you want to have like a speech skill or something. But on base, Mothership does not have speech skills. They fully intend that if you're rolling, it's to do an action. But if you are talking to somebody, you talk. You are imparting your character's voice when you talk. And I like that. I like that a lot. I prefer that. And I think part of it is because they try to make a numbers mechanic out of it. When I think really, again, the best mechanic in any tabletop roleplay is roleplay. The ability to literally just talk. The ability to literally just make it a social experience and have it be about pretend conversations to a certain extent. I think that's a good thing. I genuinely do. I think that's a good, unique element to tabletop that really elevates tabletop into allowing you as players to find more creative ways to solve problems. So, can't get too distracted. Will get too distracted, but I can't. Can't believe you guys made me draw this robot naked. You made me draw this robot naked. You kept on saying that don't look like a robot. Even though none of you said that, I heard you thinking it. I heard you thinking it so bad. You just had to know. Hmm. Dang you guys. You draw a naked robot. Remember, this is a bit. Remember, this is a bit. I am making a bit here when I say it. Man, this was productive, though. This was a productive session. I feel like I got a lot of good stuff done. Trying to think if I did a good enough job distinguishing these two. Like, do they look like the same character? That's what I'm afraid of, is that they don't look like the same character. No, they look like the same character. They look like the same character. They're supposed to be the same character. Yeah, they're the same character. Eh, not the way. I don't know if I want to make it that narrow, but I'll make it that narrow for now. One of those curtains behind them. One of those curtains. Fabric, fabricy look. There we go. Well, I have in fact officially added androids to the setting, and I'm very happy with them. I love them. They're mine. These are my androids. You can't take them. They are now my original character. Do not steal. Oops. Oops. Uh, nope. I made that dot and went, don't. God damn it. That's not where the screw goes. I can't do it on the morals if that would be inappropriate. Would be. Don't ask me where I considered putting a goddamn screw. You six. God damn it. I mean, I deserve it. I deserve that, like, being made fun of that. It's the most obvious spot to put it, okay? God. I like drawing this. This was very fun to draw. These came out great. I'm so excited, guys. I'm excited for Friday. I can't wait. There's so much. I've done so much to prepare for this setting, and I should probably call it here so that way I can spend the rest of the night kind of working on that. There's a couple other things I want to do coming up. I definitely want to. I want to prepare something. I mean, it's not a secret. This isn't so much a secret. I want to be able to go live that I have commissions available now. If you want a commission of a token, I can do that. They are available on my Ko-Fi, and I want to make an advertisement for that. I'm currently working on that right now. Kind of stalled out on it a little bit, but I should have that hopefully up by the end of the week. This might take priority because this is happening Friday, so I want to make sure I have everything ready for it. But I do want to also get that advertisement out and start advertising my commissions. I haven't never done that before. So I hope if you guys know anybody, I'm going to say this, if you guys know anybody who needs a commission, or if you need a commission, feel free to let me know or send them my way. I'm trying to get commissions. I am trying to get commissions. So if you know anybody who needs a commission for any reason, I'll do it. I did make the joke fairly recently that I have drawn a porn commission twice. Once or twice. Might be once. I think I've drawn titties once for money. I've drawn titties for money once, I think. Can't remember. Definitely once. Definitely once. That I can confirm. I've drawn titties once, and it was one of the most positive commissions I've had. Actually, it was like one of the most positive commissions I had had up to that point. Pays the bills. Sometimes I like drawing. Sometimes I like drawing porn. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's some good, wholesome porn out there. I would like to contribute to it if I get the opportunity. Just saying. Not all porn has to be disgusting. Hot take. Exactly. Honest shout out. You want an example? Fit Scene is pretty good. They genuinely make very attractive characters that are also very soft and cute and wholesome, and have depicted very wholesome depictions of sex. Like, it can exist, guys. And if anybody, that's my thing, is like, if anybody wanted, like, that's my limit. It's like, at least let me make it like something safe and good and not gross. Like, I just don't want to do gross art. It's not me. That's not me. The gross art's gonna happen with this game, and it's gonna be intentionally gross. Just saying. Uh-huh. Get out of here. Get out of here, Slanesh, you sickos. We're being invaded by Slaneshi demons. Being invaded by Slaneshi... But we're being invaded by Slaneshi demons. Is it Slanesh the horny one? I think Slanesh is the one. I need to call it. I need to call it. I need to call it. I'm losing my mind. Okay, I thought so. This is what I'm saying. It's not that I don't know any 40k, I just don't know a lot of 40k. It's not out of a lack of interest, I just don't know very much of it. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to change the framing on that real fast. Bug me. Yeah, that's better. That's better. If anything, I probably should have, but fine. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and call it here. Thanks for joining, everybody. I hope you had a good time. We're gonna do one more thing. I gotta move. Corn is the murder violence one. I don't even remember who the Blood. Is Corn the blood boy? Is that blood boy? Does he want the bone? Does he want the bone zone? Corn wants the bone zone. Corn wants the bone zone. Corn wants the bones. He wants the bone chair. Oh, Slanesh wants the bone chair? Well, no. Okay, fair. My bad, not the bone zone. Corn wants the bone chair. But Corn does want the bone chair, correct? Yes. He wants to drink the blood and sit in his bone chair. Alright, before we go, we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to make a prompt with you guys. If you want to participate, all you got to do is type in chat. Whatever chat says, we'll use as a reference. Then I'll share the image before we raid out. If you want to participate, yeah, you just got to type, yeah. So, yeah, I said my thing. Bone chair? Okay. My android sitting on the bone chair. Okay, I'll let you guys add to that. I'm gonna pull up my shit, though. Why Silent Hill got such good music, though? Why Silent Hill gotta have such good music? Why, really, the real sinister mystery is, a certain game. Again, I brought it up today again. I always feel like I shouldn't tell people about this game, but it does have good-ass fucking music. God damn it. It's going to make an appearance in the fucking game. It's that goddamn good. Oh boy. Oh boy, I have to do this with a mouse. Boy, this is gonna be fun. Alright. Alright, this is like that. Nope, can't undo. That. That. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That looks really dumb. Well, I sure did it. I sure did do it. Well, stick around to the very end, everybody. I also do a bit of a closing bit. We do raid at the end of every stream, so that way the vampires in our chat can keep watching. There's everybody else out there. Make sure to go lock your doors and windows. It's almost lunchtime for vampires. Thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the show. If you're able to join the live show, thank you for stopping by and chatting and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for taking the time to going back and rewatching the VOD. We appreciate it. If you're out there and you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what we're up to, I recommend scrolling down below and following or clicking any of the links. There's a link to an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter. There's a link to all the socials in the Discord. We post will go live on any one of those platforms as well as anything else that we're up to. And just generally come hang out with the rest of the community there. It's a good time on the Discord. Speaking of which, a shout out to our community there and everyone who follows. You guys are a wonderful audience and we appreciate you. If we do anything particularly entertaining or noteworthy, feel free to clip it and share it on the internet. Just make sure to also hashtag with MCCanary or link it back to the stream so people can find more of the good stuff we do here. And if you want to see the stream grow, you gotta let people know. I appreciate that people have been talking about the stream, and I encourage you guys to do it more. It does help us out, and it's just super rad that you guys have been willing to do that. So go tell people about the stream. Go tell your friends about the stream. I won't. And honestly, it does help. It does. My brain went, actually, there's something more I want to say there. No, it does help. Like, I don't really do any advertising. The only advertising I do is I post when I go live. Otherwise, the only way that people get to know about this is when you guys tell your friends about this. There, I'm going to try to say that more. So go tell your friends about this. I won't. And as always, a huge thank you to our supporters on Patreon, Ko-fi, and Twitch. Your generosity allows us to continue to expand the stream, as well as take on more projects. The stream would not be made possible without viewers like you, so we thank you. If you want to see your name added to this list, as well as a couple of the benefits you get, you could always subscribe directly on Twitch. Or check out the Patreon and Ko-fi here. It's true. It's true, it is spooky season. Those links will take you to the Patreon and the Ko-fi. They'll show you everything that you get, and any amount is always appreciated. Once again, thank you. There's also going to be commissions available on Ko-fi. I'll be adding to them, but for now, you can order token commissions if you want me to draw a little guy for your Magic deck. I don't know. Maybe there's tokens in other games. I just know they're in Magic, so yes. Thank you, Dream Monster, doing a wonderful job holding back the robot army to prevent becoming famous. Okay, yeah, it did. It just doubled up. And thank you just for coming and hanging out. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. Get you some housekeeping and get you on your way. No robots, except the one we drew. They're the best robot. They are the best robot. Check out the rest of our friends in Goblin Entertainment. That link tree has links to everyone's channels and everything that they've done and they've been up to, and the rest of my stuff here, which has everything that I post to, so you should go check everybody out in Goblin Entertainment. And stick around, we'll go say hi to the Amoeba, unless she's getting ready to end. She might be getting ready to end. Yes, she's getting ready to end. Never mind, we'll go to somebody else. Still going? Nope, they're offline. God damn it. Well, never mind, we won't go to Amoeba. Trying to think. Who's... What? Oh, this guy. Oh, yeah, this guy. Wait. I'm thinking. I'm processing. I'm deciding who to go. We'll go say hi to Brad. We'll go say hi to Brad. Everybody go say hi to Brad Vickers. We all love Brad Vickers here. He's a good guy. So stick around for that. Otherwise, have yourselves a good evening. Take it easy. And remember, robots are whatever you decide to make, as long as they behave, think like a robot. I like that this translated that Quincy just has really big feet. Oh no, don't take that out of context, you weirdos. It is, there it is, it's the Bone Throne. Didn't have enough time to add more bones, but it is the Bone Throw. It is the Bone Throne. Ah.